Kansas City. The reason why they're one of the top teams in the NFL, they take away the ball and convert it into points. Every turnover worth 3 points. They need more than that here.
Is this the first time Kansas City's been across the 50-yard line in the second half? It is, isn't it?
Slingshot Schneiderman says yes. 37-yard line, first down play. Williams again. Spinning, got something out of nothing. Got about 3 yards. Tony Casillas, second player picked in 1986 behind Bo Jackson, made the stop. There's Casillas, whose wife is a doctor, a criminal psychiatrist, who was working at Emory Hospital in Atlanta, now employed here in Dallas. Wide open, Willie Davis again, and a first down at the 24-yard line. Robert Jones brought him down.
He got kind of lost in the shuffle there. Good play action fake. And you can see everybody's kind of moving away, and then all of a sudden Craig, he's obviously the third or fourth receiver. Craig does a good job of coming back, knowing the pattern where the outlet receivers are, and he gets it to Davis.
Looked as if he wanted Jonathan Hayes deep, but Hayes was held up at the line of scrimmage. 3 straight 100-yard games for Willie Davis. What a find. 4.5 minutes to go. Barry Word comes in and goes down. Robert Jones, the rookie from East Carolina.
Great tackle. Boy, you teach linebackers to go from the inside out, keep your shoulders along the line of scrimmage, accelerate through the running back to make the tackle. And man, does it all happen here. There's Jones. He pursues perfectly. He never really gets sideways. Runs his shoulder. That is an outstanding tackle by the young man from East Carolina.
First down. Play action. What a catch, but they won't get much out of it. Kimball Anders, second-year man from Houston, now a part of the offense with Bill Jones being released by Kansas City this past week.
Dick, did you just see Dave Craig? He's telling, my fault. Threw the ball on the ground. I give you no chance to turn it up. Nothing. My fault totally.
2-yard gain. 3rd and 8 at the 22.
Here we can see him again. Hey, my fault.
And with 3.5 minutes to go, Bob, you wonder now what Schottenheimer's thinking. Would they even settle for a field goal in this spot?
Must be a 2-down area.
Intercepted. Ray Horton. Horton gets his second interception, but again it was Haley pressuring. J.J. Burton, the intended receiver. The ball didn't have a lot of zip because Craig was out of position to throw because of the Dallas pressure. A veteran from the University of Washington, former Bengal, Ray Horton, second interception at the Dallas 8 to stymie Kansas City's attempt to tie. The Chiefs have all 3 timeouts left. 3:27 remaining in the fourth quarter. And they have to stop the Cowboys, and it's Sally Amua applying the hit on Emmitt Smith. Timeout, Kansas City. They spend their first.
Dick, if you go back to the interception from behind the defense, watch where Dave Craig looks first. This way. And then he's trying to make a big play here, but you see the primary side of the field is to his right. Haley does create a lot of pressure on him, but when he comes back late, oh, that gives Ray Horton, who's played free safety for a lot of years, just read those eyes, follow those eyes to the ball, make the interception. Joe Pendry is saying that is not a good veteran play by Dave Craig.
Told you, Horton, who grew up in Tacoma, Washington, same hometown, went to the same high school as NBC's Ahmad Rashad. Very interesting guy. He said inspired by Lou Holtz, the Notre Dame coach, and Holtz with his list of 100 things he wanted to do when he was out of work way back as a young coaching kid. And he's made his own list, and he has climbed K2, and he's caddied for his golfing idol, Fred Couples, I believe it is.
That would be a nice bag to carry.
He's passed his firefighter's exam, and he just passed a good test there for Dallas to deny Kansas City. Emmitt Smith, no gain on first down. Aikman. Terrific. Big play.
You can't call a timeout either if you're Kansas City here now. They make the first down. You got to let the clock run here a little bit. Huge play. Zone coverage again. I don't think Kansas City had any idea that the slant was coming. Good deep slant. Aikman puts it right on the money. Boy, that's a tough play.
6 catches today for Michael Irvin. And the Chiefs indeed don't use one of their timeouts, and the clock ticks down. Dale Carter out on Irvin. Emmitt Smith figures here and gets it. Oh, slipping down as he made a cut, looking for more after a 9-yard gain. Charles Mincy secures the tackle, and Emmitt could taste a big gainer there.
You never grow tired of watching a running back like this. Am I right, Dick? I mean, even in the simplest of plays at the line of scrimmage where there doesn't appear to be any daylight, he makes a beautiful gain out of it.
Well over 500 yards on the season is Smith, and don't forget he's already had his bye week, so when you look at those numbers of leading rushers, he has a game in hand, or the others have the game in hand, and from his point of view, he'll get that game later on.
He's got 20 carries to this point too, just about at his average.
Well, next Sunday, Bob and I will be out in San Diego, where the Chargers will be meeting the Denver Broncos in one of our second games, but first half of the doubleheader features Cincinnati, Houston, and Seattle and the Giants, the Colts, and Miami. And Cleveland, New England rounds out our coverage. Starts at 12:30 with the gang back in New York on NFL Live. Well, Dave Craig hoping he'll have another chance. The worst of things happened on the Emmitt Smith run. He didn't make a first down. Now it's only 2nd and 1, so it figures the Cowboys can get a first down, another 4, and the Chiefs had to spend a timeout, have only 1 left, plus the 2-minute warning.
Well, now Dallas has got to take a timeout here because they got the wrong personnel in there. 3, 5, 8. They got 11. It's the right number, but.
Coach Jimmy Johnson said that's okay here at this point. Let's not make any mistakes.
Sure. Timeouts mean nothing to them, leading 17-10.
But what a change. You know, Jimmy Johnson, we were around that first year when they went 1-15, and they loved their barbecues down here in the Lone Star State, and they had him on the spit. I mean, they couldn't do anything right, and of course, to compound matters, the handling of the Tom Landry deal had the hangover, and Johnson, you know, he was going to take the blame whether it was his or not. But Jerry Jones, the owner, and Jimmy Johnson, his former University of Arkansas teammate on an undefeated Razorback national championship team in the 60s. Look what they've done in 4 years. In '88, the last year of the Landry era, they were 3-13. They've already won more than that this year. Bum Bright was the owner. Now Jerry Jones, Landry the coach, Jimmy Johnson. Average age of the team, only 25, 3 years younger, the youngest team in the league now. And of course, with winning comes attendance. Second down and 1. Smith, there's the first down to the 40 as the Chiefs hope to jar the ball free. But the remarkable thing about Smith, not only durable, but it's tough to get him to cough up the ball, and the clock will tick to the 2-minute warning. And as he noted, and so did Marty Schottenheimer, always carries the ball in the left hand. Although Bears owner Jerry Jones, he was a 182-pound offensive guard. And Jimmy Johnson was a defensive lineman at 206 pounds on that unbeaten Arkansas team in the 60s.
So we both know they have guts. If nothing else, they have guts getting out there at that weight.
And also they have a heart, does Jerry Jones. That's Lamar Hunt, and he and his company are in Jerry Jones' private luxury box. Hunt, the owner of the Kansas City Chiefs, a Dallas resident, and Jones said, I want you to feel at home. They're good friends. And so Jones is on the sidelines. His box belongs to Lamar Hunt for the day. And it's protecting the ball, getting as much yardage as he can, but not being careless about doing it. Gets 4 yards, and the final timeout used by Kansas City. 1:49 to go. But with the use of Emmitt Smith and that one big throw, Aikman to Irvin from deep in their own end, Dallas apparently has put Kansas City in a spot where it'll be tough under any conditions unless there's a quick turnover to rally. Don't forget NFL Live, Old Spice postgame report with Bob Costas, Will McDonough, Coach Parcells, O.J. Simpson here in Dallas. And we understand that O.J. will talk with his Domino's opponent, Emmitt Smith. O.J. said he taught them all a lesson, but he forgave their inept play by giving them all an autographed picture, as he is wont to do. But that Emmitt Smith claims he held his own. Maybe they'll sort that out in the post-game show.
All I can tell you is Domino's in that group is probably the loudest game a group can play.
1:49 to go. Nothing to stop the clock for Kansas City. 2nd down and 6. Smith, a couple of yards to the 47. As the Dallas Cowboys, a minute and 40 seconds away from winning their 10th consecutive game here at the Texas Stadium Indoor-Outdoor Palace. And 13 in a row when their opponents have scored under 20 points. And here's our Hager wrinkle-free cotton super play of the game, Ray Horton. Size 32 waist. Stealing the ball from Burton and stealing the hopes of Kansas City to tie here in the final 2 minutes. Wily veteran in the right place. 3rd and 3. Smith out of bounds to stop the clock. That's the only thing he did wrong. A flag is down back at the line of scrimmage. Boy, that could be a very big flag. Stops the clock, and
yes,
it's against Dallas. Schottenheimer says, hey, wait a minute, we got a chance here yet.
You've got to take the flag.
Holding 63 offense. Still 3rd down.
John Giesick, the former Raider, acquired in a trade from Los Angeles 2 years ago.
Now the clock does not start until the ball is snapped. There's 56 seconds left.
The cheer in the background, we're guessing a public announcer announcing that the Redskins have defeated the Eagles, so a Dallas win would position the Cowboys alone atop the NFC East, and that is correct. The Redskins 16, the Eagles 12. So Washington goes 4-2, Philadelphia 4-2, and Dallas less than a minute from 5-1. As Smith tripped up at the 39. That'll bring up 4th down, but the Chiefs can't stop the clock. 36 seconds on the play, so there's only 5 seconds is all that Schottenheimer will have before Dallas has to snap the ball. As the Cowboys let it run down. So close, he grits his teeth. You know, again, now another 10 seconds, and he'll tell you how he could have tied Dallas. So 3 tough defeats apparently for Schottenheimer and Kansas City. Overtime to Houston.
And welcome to a lucky week number 7 here on NFL Primetime. To help us get lucky, we're always lucky with these guys here, aren't we? Tom Jackson, Robin Roberts. We've got some good football, some big games to discuss today. So without much further ado, let's get right to it. First of all, though, let's get you caught up on the late games. 6 late games around the league. One of them was over way before halftime. They're just playing it out. Oh, my goodness. The 49ers are laying into the Falcons. 56-10. They led 42-10 at the half. Jerry Rice has 3 touchdowns. Big day for Ricky Waters. Plenty of Niner highlights coming later on. Final from Anaheim. The Rams are 2-0 now against New York teams. They've beaten the Giants handily, 38-17. Most points allowed by the G-men since 1988. The Saints trailed at the half, but they came back, and at Phoenix, it's a final. The Saints win, and a lot of points for them, 30-21. The Saints up their mark to 5-2. The Raiders are at the Kingdome against old friend Tom Flores. The Seahawks actually threatening to score, but the Raiders seem to have this one in control. Under 4 to go, 19-0. The Raiders, even though Marinovich left the game in the first half. The Houston Oilers, with 2 minutes to go, have the ball at the 9-yard line of the Broncos. And the score is 20-14. Denver over Houston. Did they score? Yes, they've scored. It's 20-20. Extra point is pending. We'll keep you posted on the game, and we'll show you highlights when it's all over. Can Elway lead him back again? And under a minute to go. Patriots led early, but no more. Dolphins look to go 6-0. They lead the Pats 38-17 down at Joe Robbie. As we said, a lot of big games today in the NFL. One that maybe wasn't so big. A couple of teams that finished in 5th place a year ago. The Colts and the Bolts. San Diego against Indianapolis playing for the first of 2 meetings in the next 3 weeks. However, with these 2 teams, they're both improving. They have unheralded defenses, and one of the team's defenses stepped to the forefront today. Defense and, oh yeah, a running game. Rod Bernstein. Marion Butts didn't play, but Bernstein had 11 yards. Then he had 6 yards as the Lightning Bolts look to go ground today at the Hoosier Dome. Then Bernstein gets some blocks, escapes the grasp of John Baylor, dives over Mike Pryor into the end zone. 7-0 Chargers. Look at the big man make the dive. And play action, Tommy.
Yeah, Chris, this game is so complicated. You run the ball well, you play action, people believe it. Here, Nate Lewis gets in between Jason Belzer and Mike Pryor. Bernstein with the play fake. Long completion.
So the nice pass to Lewis, and then 2nd and goal from the 2. Bernstein up and oh, he likes this dive thing. 14-0 the Chargers over the Colts. Bernstein, a career-high 150 yards on 23 carries today. Junior Seau missed his first game as a Charger since his rookie season with 1990, but the rest of the defense is tough. Doink! Off of Bill Brooks, Delton Hall, Foghorn Langhart, Gilbert, come on, oh, incomplete. Next play, Jeff George. And Darren Carrington picks it off in the end zone for the Chargers. 3rd quarter, 17-7 San Diego. George, doink off Brooks, into the hands of Carrington again. 2 end zone interceptions for Darren Carrington. Then, watch this though. John Baylor, look out, Stan Humphries. Chip a rumbling, bumbling, stumbling, fumbling. Come on, get some stickum on those fingers. Get the football. The Colts do take the football, and Jeff George to carry Cash down to the 2. 2nd and goal. The tackle eligible is William Schultz. I know nothing. I see nothing. I know it's a touchdown. 17-14. Here's the replay. And
you watch here as Schultz on the end holds up Kevin Murphy, fakes the block, and then becomes eligible, makes the catch, and delivers the ball into the stands to a friend.
So William Schultz, no clinker on that play. 4th quarter, 17-14 Chargers. Humphries. Derek Walker makes a great catch, even though Humphries got nailed by Empman afterwards. 1st and goal from the 2. Eric sleeping with Bieniemy for the touchdown, and the Chargers back on top by 10, and they win it by 20. As San Diego wins it by the count of 34-14. We told you 150 yards by Bernstein, 5 sacks by the D. And Tommy, finally, a game that San Diego, Bobby Ross and company can smile about.
Well, Chris, very impressive effort. I know we both have thought the Chargers should be a better football team. Number 1, defense in the AFC, working without Junior Seau, without Marion Butts on offense. But if this team would score points, I think this is the type of team that they could be. This is how effective they could be. It doesn't hurt also to get the 5 turnovers by the defense.
Well, you tell you what, not that he was going to be necessarily a great quarterback this year, but they like what they saw in young John Freeze. When he got hurt in the preseason, kind of really put them back, because if they had a quarterback, who had been there from the start of the year with the system, if they had the running game like this and the defense, they'd be tough. They will be tough later in the year. Watch out for them for sure. All right, we got plenty to show you here on the Week 7 edition of NFL Primetime. But first, the first 5 games, we told you the Chargers couldn't score. Yeah, 46 points in 5 games. But today, 34. It's like, who remembers Dan Fouts anymore after today, right? When we return, the Eagles and the Redskins. Randall knew he was up against the champs. Unbelievable, isn't it? Houston goes ahead 21-20 just after 2 minutes to go. Elway leads the Broncos right down the field. Reggie, rolling like the Rivers, has scored on a 20-yard run. The Oilers have the ball again, but now they trail the Broncos 27-21. Unbelievable. And we'd like to welcome those of you that have watched. The Miami Dolphins up their mark to 6-0. That's a final now. They've beaten the Patriots 38-17. We'll keep you updated on the Houston-Denver Wild one at Mile High. When we return, the Bears' Jim Harbaugh going up top. And the Buccaneers could only look at the Bears from behind. Stay with us.
I like KNIX because they play more songs in a row.
Reba McEntire, Tanya Tucker,
Travis Tritt,
Alan Jackson.
Instead of a lot of commercials, they play 50 minutes of music per hour.
Randy Travis, Clint Black,
Garth Brooks,
George Strait.
KNIX plays 16 songs an hour all day.
Winona, Alabama, Damon Rio.
KNIX plays all the best country of the last 10 years.
They just don't repeat the same top hits over and over again.
FM 102.5.
Arizona's best country. KNIX.
Hey, why run with the crowd when it's so much fun to pull away from it? Or why buy a closeout 92?
Not exactly offensive juggernauts.
No.
We knew that maybe the first team to get to the teens would be the winner here.
Yeah, the Browns ranked 14th or higher in out of 14 out of 18 offensive categories, so you knew not to expect much scoring in this one. But what about that Browns defense? They have not had a run or rush for 100 yards or more in 56 straight games. And coming into today's game against the Packers, the Browns defense had not allowed a touchdown in 9 quarters. Even the Indians crossed home plate more than the Browns' opposition has crossed the goal line lately. Why? Guys like defensive tackle Michael Dean Perry, big number 92, bullsways his way in through 2 Packers. Bats down Brett Favre's pass. Guys like safety Vince Newsome blitzes in untouched, sacks Favre for a hefty 11-yard loss. Guys like safety Eric Turner steps in front of a Sterling Sharp pass, almost picks off Favre. Guys like linebacker Mike Johnson. Daryl Thompson goes right, is hit, fumbles. Johnson is there to recover it. Very next play, a draw to Leroy Hoard. He's hit, he fumbles. Keith Millard recovers it. Then the very next play, Vince Workman is hit by David Brandon. 3 plays, 3 fumbles in 15 seconds, 3-0 Cleveland at the half on a 26-yard field goal. Mike Tomczak tied at 3 in the 3rd. He hits Eric Metcalf, and he eludes a couple of Packers for a hefty 31-yard gain to the Packer 4. Next play, Kevin Mack goes in untouched from the 4, but he got some help, TJ.
Yeah, Mark Bavaro doing a lot of things that he did well for the Giants here, blocking outside on the right side of the line. Lets Mack go right off his hip into the end zone. 4th quarter, Browns up 10-3. The Pack first and goal at the 9. Favre in trouble, sacked by 3 Browns. Next play, Favre overthrows Vince Workman. 3rd down, Favre fumbles. Harry Sidney recovers. The Pack settle for a 37-yard Chris Jackie field goal. Bill Belichick's offense, they can score. Tomczak hits Mark Bavaro. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, but 7 Packers drag him down 2 plays later. From the Packer 5-yard line, that's Mack again. His 50th career touchdown. Browns up 17-6. Nice sweater there. Bill Belichick walks off having won 3 of his last 4. 17-6 is the final. Make that 13 straight quarters that the Browns have not allowed a touchdown. They're not 500 on the year, 3-3. But the Pack, Brett Favre completed 20 of 33 passes for 223 yards. But back to that Browns defense, they give up a lot of yards. But inside that red zone, they have yielded a league low 6 touchdowns.
Well, that's consistent with the way Belichick goes. He may not have quite the players he did with the Giants, but yet they're doing what he asks. Also doing what he asks this year, Robin, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, how long has it been since in Week 7 the Buccaneers go into Chicago to play the Bears that the Bucs record was better than the Bears record? 3-2 against 2-3. Well, Mike Ditka was looking to put an end to such foolishness. Both teams had the bye last week. We go to Soldier Field, 53rd birthday. Would it be a present for Mike Ditka? Jim Harbaugh, well, yes, Coach, what is it you want me to do? Oh, you want me to hit Brad Muster with this play? Colonel Muster in the flat with the candlestick. The Bears in business against Tampa Bay. Same drive. Harbaugh to Wendell Davis between two Buccaneers for 13 yards. That helped the Bears set up second and goal to one. Neil Anderson stopped. See the dive and a nice play by the Bucs defense stopping him before he got airborne. 3rd and goal. Audible? No. We call a timeout. So Mike Ditka says, well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. It's going to be an unbelievable play, Jim. This is what I want. Brad Muster in the end zone with the lead pipe. Bears lead it, the Colonel, 7-0. And a 9-minute plus drive. Next possession for Chicago. Harbaugh. Underthrown, but who goes and gets the ball as always? Tommy Waddle, 42-yard gain. Bears on the 25-yard line, 4th and inches. Harbaugh keeps it himself, 1st down, Chicago. Same drive, but second quarter, they change ends. Harbaugh to the Colonel. Muster for a touchdown. Almost a 7-minute drive this time, 14-0 Chicago. They're playing bad football. Sam Weiss trying to get his Bucs moving. Vinny Testaverde, play action. Their top draft pick, 2nd-round pick, Courtney Hawkins, pulls it in for a 26-yard gain and a 1st down. Vinny, wait a minute, is he allowed to audible, Tom?
Yeah, and he's picked up that complicated offense of Sam Weiss. That looked like Canadian football. He moved 4 guys before the snap of the ball, and then he looks for number 85, Courtney Hawkins again, and he gets into the end zone.
Don't tell me an audible paid off for a touchdown. It does. And the Bucs trail 14-7 at the half. Now, the Bears have had good first half, but poor second halves this year, being outscored 100-34. But not today. Richard Dent, with help from Roper, gets the sack on Vinny. His 106th sack. Now, this isn't just any team. These are the monsters of the Midway. 106 sacks, Richard. You're the club leader. Impressive. Harbaugh to Anthony Morgan. Now, I'll tell you what, it's hard for anybody to look fast when you wear these uniforms. But Morgan can burn. Forget it. You're not going to catch him. 83 yards. And for Harbaugh, after the touchdown, a day of 304 yards passing. That's his career high. Down 7 in the 4th. Could Vinny rally the Bucs? No. Picked off by Sean Gale, just activated before the game. Returned it to the 22. And the Chicago Bears go on to defeat the Buccaneers 31-14. Mike Ditka now 17-3. Lifetime coaching against Tampa Bay. And we told you about Harbaugh's great day of 304 yards. Well, with all the merriment comes reality, and all of us here at NFL Primetime, I'm sure all you out there, our condolences to tight end of the Buccaneers, Ty.G. Armstrong. His mom, Annie, was in the stands today and suffered a heart attack, later passed away. So our condolences. She was watching her son play, and she's passed away at the age of 51. We'll be back with more football in just a moment. First, inside the numbers, we go to the Cleveland Browns. And remember the first week Bernie Kosar was shaked, is that a word, rattled and rolled by the Colts 11 times? For the last 5 games, he's only been sacked 3 times. Credit the Browns with some major league improvement. That's why they're winning their last couple of games. When we return, a big game between two teams that once used to call Dallas their home. The Cowboys are still there, and the Kansas City Chiefs were once the Texans. They came back to Big D to pay a visit. Mile High Stadium, but we knew what would happen from the beginning, didn't we? Despite another valiant effort by Warren Moon, the Broncos, John Elway, Houdini, pulled another one out. I'd like to welcome those of you that are joining us from that game. 27-21. Denver wins it late after the 2-minute warning over the Oilers, and we'll have highlights of that later on. A final, the Raiders did pitch the shutout against old friend Tom Flores. They beat the Seahawks in Seattle 19-0. Two teams with Super Bowl aspirations, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Dallas Cowboys. You know, both Jimmy Johnson and Marty Schottenheimer took over these respective teams in 1989, and since then it's been nowhere but up for both clubs. Which would be more impressive today? In the stadium with a hole in the roof. Emmitt Smith and the Cowboys up 7-3 in the second quarter. The pitch from Aikman to Emmitt, and he cuts for 12 yards. 12,000 yards would be an interesting run. He does have 3,000 for his career. He's only 23 years of age, the youngest ever to reach that mark.
Yeah, and Chris, on this particular run, he shows you all of the things that make him successful. The great vision, the ability to make the first couple of guys miss, and lately, we've noticed he's developed a good stiff arm. He uses it here just before he gets out of bounds.
So second quarter action, Dallas down to the 2. Emmitt Smith finishes what he starts. Touchdown, the Cowboys lead the Chiefs 14-3, and Jimmy Johnson says, yeah, I think I'll keep him back there for another 12,000 yards, right? Last week, Marty, play action. They opened up the game that way, didn't score much, got a field goal early. Dave Craig runs the play action, hits Willie Davis. And when you do that, then Christian Okoye for 6. 4th and 1, they give it to Barry, never a discouraging word. First down, they keep the drive going. Craig stumbles with play action to Willie Davis. Former Packer, former Dodger, now Chief. Then Barry Word takes over for 4. Barry Word takes over for a tough 2. Barry Word takes over into the end zone, finishing off a 15-play, 77-yard drive, 14-10 now. Dallas leads at the half. One of the big acquisitions Dallas has made this year, Charles Haley, and Charles was in charge.
Yeah, Charles Haley is giving dividends to the Dallas Cowboys right away by sacks, but not only the sacks, many times he's pressuring the quarterback, making him get out of the pocket and allowing other people to make big plays.
And he's, I don't know, he's inspired. Jim Jeffcoat still looks good. Tommy nails Craig there. Haley forces Craig to scramble, and Jimmy Jones, the handyman, dumps him for the sack. 3 sacks today. Albert Lewis unable to go for the Chiefs DBs.
Now with
he
Dale
had some
Carter,
words.
you have to play man because he's a better man player than zone. So I think that with him in the game, it's not going to be that much of a drop-off, actually.
But early on, Dale Carter, going to be a good player, but he was overmatched by Michael Irvin.
Yeah, a bit overmatched. It seemed like every time we looked up at the screen, Michael Irvin was catching the ball. He only ended up with the 6 catches, but he also had 3 penalties called against Dale Carter. You see that every time he ran, here's one, a little stop and go. Carter sees that he's beat. He doesn't have his eye on the receiver. Michael Irvin, a pretty tough receiver to come out on as a rookie.
And Aikman knows he hits Michael Irvin and beats Carter for a touchdown, but
Illegal motion, 88, offense, still first down.
So the illegal motion on Irvin, and the Cowboys never got on track. Here he is at the top of your screen, sees way off, 3 steps in advance. And then he gets called for offensive interference. And Dale Carter, I'll tell you what, you talk about growing up in one game, he certainly did. Clutch interception with 7 minutes to go in the game. Chiefs are only down 17-10. And David Craig says, thanks for the interception, let's get going. To Willie Davis, inside the 25-yard line. 3 straight 100-yard games for Davis. Craig out of the shotgun, 5 minutes to go. Haley forced him to throw earlier than he wants. Picked off by Ray Horton, who heard a who. Marty Schottenheimer again. 3rd tough place that the Chiefs have gone. They've lost in all 3 places. Houston, Denver, and Dallas. Kansas City played another pretty good game. Wasn't enough. Dallas beats them by the count of 17-10. The Cowboys have the longest home winning streak right now. It's 10 in a row. And afterwards, that flying man, Marty Schottenheimer, said the Chiefs can do better.
Well, it's disappointing. I mean, you know, my feeling is very simply this, and this is what I've told the football team. You know, if we play the way we're capable of playing, we can win. I mean, we can win the whole thing if we play the way we're capable of playing, but we haven't done that yet. And every guy, starting with me, has got to look at himself and find out, what else can I do to be better?
Sooner or later, that the schedule's going to get a little easier for Marty Schottenheimer and the Chiefs. I mean, they didn't stink out the joint again, although the record will show they're 4-3. And you talked about it, Tommy. Albert Lewis out, that's a heavy burden against a speed team like Dallas.
Yeah, Chris, I thought it was a great football game, but I think a lot of times when you go into a game, maybe that left corner, that great cover guy like an Albert Lewis is the most important guy on the field, especially when you have a receiver the caliber of Michael Irvin. Today, Dale Carter came up a little bit short, but like you said, he grew up fast. And the other thing, when I talked with Marty Schottenheimer this weekend, he said Troy Aikman, from the point of coming from the center to getting back and ready to throw, not to release, is as quick or quicker than anybody else in the NFL, and I think he proved that today.
Well, that's tough, and the rookie has to make his moves a little bit faster, yeah. Carter. But hey, the Chiefs' problem is they saw that Denver won later on, and they're looking up. But the Chiefs will be there, and the Cowboys are in first place. We'll show you why a little bit later. When we return, we've got more to show you, but one of the reasons the Cowboys are improved this year, last year, much as they were good on offense, they amassed only 23 sacks. They played only 6 games this year. And although 18 isn't a huge number, look at it compared to last year through the entire season. They're rushing better. David Craig learned that today. when we return. While the Cowboys were winning, what would happen between their rivals in the NFC East, the Redskins and the Eagles? I mean, there was no stopping the hitting in this game. I said there was no stopping the hitting in this game. Some big ball games in week number 7, none bigger than the mano-a-mano face-off at RFK between the Philadelphia Eagles, the team that would be king, and the Washington Redskins, the team that currently wears the crown. Now, Washington came off a short week. Would they be at a disadvantage? Well, I'll tell you what kind of coach is Joe Gibbs? His team's going into today 18-2 after a Monday night game. Could they make it 19-2? Well, the Eagles were remembering in this game their fallen teammate.
1, 2, 3, JB.
Thinking of Jerome Brown, and this is a game that Jerome was on the mind of the Eagles, and the scraps against the Redskins were on all sides of the football, even on the special teams. The youngster Jeff Seidner for the Eagles, Danny Copeland for the Redskins. Fighting, but when it was over, they patted each other on this play and say, good job. First quarter, the Hogs were injured. Those weren't the Hogs you saw in the stands, but no difference. Ernest Biner, first of 8 straight rushes. It was no huddle, Tommy. 6, then 6 more.
Yeah, here you see something the Redskins love to do. Joe Jacoby pulling from the guard spot. Rod Middleton taking on Reggie White. And you got Biner looking for the hole and cutting it up in there for 4.
So even though Lachey is out, Bostic is out, Simmons playing with back spasms, they still move the ball, and Mark Rippon to Art Monk for 9 yards, and then they double-team Reggie.
Yeah, Reggie White had a pretty quiet day today because they double-team a lot. Here, Ed Simmons and Rod Middleton do the job.
Rippon rolls right. Monk went deep. Underneath was Gary Clark at the touchdown. They beat John Shake Your Booty. The Redskins lead it early, 7-0. Next drive for Joe Gibbs. Well, Joe looked at what Kansas City did last week to Philadelphia. Oh, play action. We'll try some of that. And it's Rippon to Arthur Monk. And Byron Evans is not going to be able to cover Art Monk. That was a 34-yard game. Rippon underthrows Clark without a touchdown. Chip Lohmiller missed a 32-yard field goal. He's been struggling at times. Only 7-0. Second quarter, Rippon to tackle-eligible Ray Brown. Byron Evans busted up. While the senator, Ricky Irvins, down to the 1. I said the senator can't get in the end zone. Stuffed. They set up for a field goal by Lohmiller, 10-3, Washington. Herschel Walker's had a big season thus far, but Wilbur Marshall stuffs him. Only 8 yards on the day for Herschel. Randall hit by Al Boyd Mays. 10-3 Skins at the half. It was that sort of game. Redskins driving again in the first drive of the second half. Hit by Seth Joyner off the hands of Booty. Byron Evans. Now watch Byron. Does he think he's Magic Johnson? He doesn't even look to his teammate Eric out. Hey, you take the ball. A great play. Remember, the Eagles down by only 7. The Eagles have momentum. Third play of the Eagles drive, Keith Byers. But somebody got the old hat on the football. Danny Copeland did it. Tim Johnson recovers. Huge play. The Eagles looked like they were driving, but it's watching and driving. Irvin, big hit by Andre Waters. Had to leave. Left fibula broken, out for the year. Rippon overthrows Art Monk. Drive ends in a field goal, 13-3 Skins after 3. Fourth quarter, first drive. Rippon. You know what? They hooked up 7 times on Monday night. They haven't used Art Monk a lot this year, and they said, you know what? This is a good idea. 26 yards. Monk at 96 on the day. Third down. Big play. Overthrow to Ricky Sanders. Settle for a field goal. Washington with a comfortable 16-3 lead, but Philly still within 2 TDs. They have a chance. Rich Kotite and Randall Cunningham trying to get things going. Under 5 minutes to go on fourth down. Got to throw to somebody who's standing up. Incomplete, and the Skins take over. 3 plays later. Kelly Goodburn. You know what? The score was 16-3. It was 13 points. Get out of the end zone. It's 11. It changes nothing. So it's 16-5. After the free kick, Randall to Byers. 21-yard pickup. Randall to Calvin Williams. Boom! A.J. Johnson with the hit. Wait a minute. They think the game is over? The Eagles don't think so. Randall on the roll. Hits Williams. But there's just 25 seconds to go. It's way too late unless at 16-12 down, they can recover the onside kick. And watch this. Out of the hands. Can the Eagles get it? No, it's Wilbur Marshall, who played another huge game for the Skins. Watch the play in the sure hands and the dive, Tommy.
Yeah, Wilbur Marshall playing as good or better, actually, than any linebacker in this league right now, and it's all due to his aggression. I mean, he's the most aggressive guy in the league right now going to that football.
Oh, by the way, Randall Cunningham did get enough yards in the game to pass Fran Tarkenton for the all-time #1 spot of modern-day quarterback rushers. He has the mark of 3,683 yards, but you know what? They don't have the win. The Redskins a couple weeks ago looked in trouble. Guess what? Both they and the Eagles are now 4-2. Skins win it 16-12. And afterwards, Joe Gibbs had praise all around.
It was offense, defense, and special teams. It took all of us, I think, today, and it was everybody just fighting their guts out on every play, really. So I think it took a total team to win it.
A lot of people talked this week about Philadelphia and their great defense, and for good reason. They are very talented, very good. But I think we're fortunate to have a group of guys on the opposite side of the ball that we play with that are as good and have played as well as anyone.
They played me 8 years, so they know my style. They have a couple of schemes, but other teams won't try because maybe some other teams don't have the personnel. They've got the personnel to match up with our personnel.
And you know what? You talk about personnel. The reason the Skins have beaten the Eagles now 11 out of the last 15 times, they can neutralize Philly's strength up front. Even though the Hogs were hurt, hey, Jim Hannafin, the coach of the Lion and Company, getting it done. The Eagles have given up less than 61 yards a game on the ground going into today. The Skins had 102. That punt safety made it -4, so only 98. But they ran better than expected, and it forced Philly back on their heels defensively. It was the difference in the game. The Giants and the Rams. The Giants used to roll in this division, the NFC East, but all of a sudden, they're going out west. 2 weeks ago, they lost to the Raiders. Could they get it right in L.A. this time? Well, Jeff Hostetler healthy, but not after Sean Gilbert hits him like this, and Bill Hawkins sits on him with good measure. Rams having problems in the first quarter this year. They're outscored 48-0, but Jim Everett trying to change it 22 yards to tight end Pat Cotter. The 8-yard screen pass to Cleveland Gary. Aaron Cox wide open for the first down. From the 1, Cleveland Gary. No, sir. Yes, sir. Touchdown. First points the Rams have scored in the first quarter all year, 7-0 LA. Tied 7-7 in the second. Cleveland Gary bumbling for 10. And look at Jim Everett. Last couple of weeks, he looks like a new man, or an old man, like he was a few years ago. Pass to David Lang. Cleveland Gary up the gut. Then Everett on the roll right. Wide open. Pat Carter, 14-7 Rams. Even on special teams. Flipped is Joey Smith and the Giants getting frustrated.
Yeah, two guys on the field, Steve Diassi and David Lang, having a quiet conversation here about who should keep their helmet on and who should.
Lawrence Taylor had trouble keeping Cleveland Gary in his sights. Here he misses, and then on play action, Jeff Chadwick. Hey, Everett looks all of a sudden very smooth, much to the chagrin of Ray Handley. Haas has to pass in the fourth quarter. It's tipped and intercepted by Anthony What-Me-Worry Newman. From there, it's Cleveland Gary. Touchdown. He had 200 at Cleveland Gary. Hey, ground chuck at 126 yards. LT, this is not, if this is to be his final year, this is not the type of year he had in mind. The Rams are 2-0 against the New York teams. The Giants are 0-2 against the LA teams, 38-17. But, Tommy, let's go back to the big game here, the Eagles and the Redskins. I mean, the Redskins' performance going into this game, which what looked like not a full deck, their deck is fuller than most, isn't it?
Yeah, Chris, I think you have to begin with crediting that defense with making big plays, and I think Wilbur Marshall has been their inspirational leader thus far this year. And that makeshift offensive line of the Hogs did the job today on Reggie White and company. And Mark Rippon has received a lot of criticism for not standing in the pocket, but today, here's a good example. Byron Evans right on top of him. He stood in there. He took his shots. He made the throws to the receivers, and you got a lot of confidence if you're Mark Rippon that if you stand there and if you take the shot, you're going to have guys come open for you. They're going to make the plays for you. So I thought it was a good all-around effort. I think Gibbs put it well. Special teams, defense, offense, they played well in all three phases.
You know what I was impressed with, and I know you were too as we watched the game. Remember, Randall was out all last year, the Redskins Super Bowl year. So 2 years ago, Wilbur Marshall was not playing like he was now as a skin, and Andre Collins was a youngster. Those two outside linebackers, not being spies, but doing their regular thing, were able to keep him inside. At one point, Collins forced him to throw a bad ball, make an interception. They have the personnel to match up with the Eagles. That's why they've won 11 out of the last 15 times. We've got more to show you, some unbelievable late highlights, certainly from Mile High. And Randall Cunningham against the Redskins, well, against the Skins in week 2 of '89, that wild game, had 447 yards and 5 touchdowns. But the last 5 games, touchdowns down, INTs up, only 941 yards. You get the picture. He's having trouble. 1-4 the last 5 against the Skins. Hey, you know what? No trouble today? 49ers. Sooner or later, they were going to clock somebody. And boy, did they owe the Atlanta Falcons. We'll be back. And he won 2 Super Bowls. Not too many people have done that. So this is kind of a big game for him, coaching for the Seahawks against his old team for the first time. But talk about not having a full deck.
Yeah, he doesn't have much of an offense, and not many quarterbacks going through his third one. His offense ranks dead last in total yards per game, and they're also last when it comes to scoring. And because of injuries, Tom Flores has gone with his third different quarterback, going with Stan Gelbaugh. They try to end a 2-game touchdown drought. Yeah, the Raiders, they remember Tom Flores from their last Super Bowl triumph in '83 over Washington, but boy, times how they have changed. Flores now on the sidelines for the Seahawks. The Raiders' first series, 3rd and 5. Cortez Kennedy slips inside to stop Steve Smith. Next Raiders possession. Kennedy comes clean and sacks Todd Marinovich. A costly sack, TJ.
Yeah, one strong card they do have in their deck is Cortez Kennedy. Here he comes in, he gets Marinovich, and then he puts all his body weight right there on Marinovich's knee.
He would have to leave the game, understandably so, and not return. So Jay Schrader, he's had pretty good success against Seattle. He comes in, hits Tim Brown on the crossing route for 22 yards. At the Seattle 19, Brown runs a slant pattern, and Patrick Hunter is flagged for pass interference. And that sets the Raiders up at the 4-yard line, where Schrader finds the speedster, Willie Gault, in the corner. 4-yard touchdown toss, 7-0 Raiders, TJ.
Yeah, beautiful pattern here by Willie Gault. He goes inside, post, freezes Dwayne Harper, takes him back to the corner. He's wide open for the touchdown.
How about a little bit of history on this 3-yard carry? Eric Dickerson moved past Tony Dorsett for the number 2 spot all-time for NFL rushers. Dickerson still has about 4,000 yards to catch sweetness. 4th quarter, 12-0 Raiders. Nick Bell, the handoff, the right sideline, working his large frame toward the end zone. He makes it in, 19-0 Raiders. And that is the final. The 4th straight loss for the Seahawks. They are shut out for the 2nd consecutive week. They have not scored a touchdown in 3 games. 3 wins in a row now for the Raiders. Could the Saints make it 3 wins in a row at the expense of the Cardinals? Jim Mora hoping the Saints defense would come up with big plays, not mistakes. 1st quarter, Cards driving, Chandler going for Randall Hill. It's incomplete, but Jimmy Spencer called for interference. That set up this play. Johnny Bailey, the dive and the score, 7-0 Cards. Then Morton Anderson would come in for the Saints. So a 52-yard field goal, big deal. Big deal. He makes it, and he becomes the first Saint to score 1,000 points, the 20th in NFL history. Way to go, Mort. 7-3 Cards. Penalties hawk the Saints. Chandler going long for Anthony Edwards, and again interference, again on Jimmy Spencer. And it set up the 6-yard pass to Ernie Jones. 14-3 Cards. You better believe the fans are psyched there. And the Sun Devil Sunbathers, well, they smell an upset. Not suntan lotion, an upset. 3rd quarter, 1st possession, 2nd half, Chandler to Ricky Prohl. He can't hang on. The Saints recover deep in Cards territory, TJ.
Yeah, and that leads to this play. Watch the screen here. The linebacker, Eric Hill, reads the screen well, but he gets a little too deep in the backfield, and Hebert just waits for Hilliard to come open and deliver the ball. You have to stay parallel with that receiver, keep your body in between him and the goal line.
16-14 Saints. Hebert not done. He hits Quinn Early for 59 yards, 23-10 Saints. Hebert 355 yards passing. The Saints win by a final of 30-21. The Saints limited to 13 or fewer points in 5 of the first 6 games. Well, they get 30 today. They move to 5-2 on the season. Let's go inside the numbers. Our honor roll, if you will. 100-yard rushers. Hey, Rod Bernstein, 150 yards and a pair of touchdowns at the Lightning Bolts pick up the win. Reggie Cobb, 109 and a loss. Coming up, stop smiling, TJ. The Oilers and the Broncos. Yet another comeback for Elway and company, but Elway got sacked a time or two. But still, the aura of Mile High Stadium.
Late highlights, and boy, are they highlights. Last year, when the Falcons beat the 49ers twice in kind of miracle games, at least one of them was, the other one was wild, those two wins got the Falcons in the playoffs and kicked the Niners out. San Francisco has a long memory, and today they showed what they remembered at Candlestick Park. They're thinking about Deion starting for the Atlanta Braves in Game 2 of the World Series, or Ricky Waters. Deion just dumps water on people. San Francisco has a guy named Ricky Waters. 8-yard touchdown, and the Niners up early.
Yeah, Chris, another kid with great vision here. Look at him see the hole, follow Rathman, sees the cutback lane, and goes in untouched.
Ricky Waters effective as a receiver. Steve Young pumps once, hits Waters 35 yards down to the 5-yard line. So since Waters made the big play, give it to the youngster. Boy, what a difference he has made for the 49ers, leading the NFC rushers going into the week. Touchdown. Jerry Glanville says, well, I know we're missing Deion, some other guys, but how could we be prepared for this explosion? 3 touchdowns for Waters in the first half alone. And it doesn't stop with Waters. It goes to Steve Young. Has buoyed the 49ers to 3 close wins the last 3 weeks. Look at Steve Young run down to the 5-yard line, 22-yard pickup.
As our Joey T said this morning, Steve Young does not want to be a runner. He will if he has to. Here he gets the nervous feet, looks like he's getting ready to run, but then he lobs a beautiful pass to the tight end, Brent Jones, for 20 yards.
This is why he doesn't want to be known as a runner. Tom, in the first half, 336 yards throwing and a pair of TDs. Early in the year, Jerry Rice was wondering if he and Steve Young were on the same wavelength. Wonder no more. Play fake. Jerry Rice. Oh, he's not fast. It's just that no one ever catches him. He's the 8th guy to get 100 touchdowns for his career. And Jerry Rice does more than just catch. He's the complete receiver.
As complete a receiver as has ever played in this game, look at him block on the corner and clear the path for Ricky Waters to get into the end zone. I think even we could score.
Well, maybe. But this is no debate. Jerry Rice can score. Young, to right, dip, dip, dip. Get out of here. You got to be kidding. We don't have tearaway jerseys. I don't need them. Touchdown, 42-10 Niners at the half. Third quarter, Rice on a reverse. Look at Steve Young out there leading interference. Jerry zips into the end zone for touchdown number 102. This Jerry is stunned. Jerry Rice, 7 catches, $183 receiving, 26 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. I think you get the picture. San Francisco, Tommy, the Broncos are out of the books. The 49ers record before for scoring was that Super Bowl 55-10 over the Broncos. You're safe. 56-17 over the Falcons. Speaking of the Broncos, you're never safe when you play the Broncos in Mile High. Houston tried to, well, they remembered their last-minute loss to the Broncos at Mile High in the playoffs last year. And the Oilers wanted to come back. So against Mike Horan, Bubba McDowell blocks an early punt. Steve Jackson recovers for Houston, brings it to the 15. 2 plays later, Warren Moon to Ernest Givens from Louisville in the end zone. Touchdown, 7-0 Houston. With the score 7-3 in the second. Look at that dance. Score 7-3 in the second. Gaston's Green takes the handoff, and he could go all the way. Where's he been all year? He's here today. Touchdown, 10-7 Denver. Early second half, Low White in the 7 Dwarfs. Lorenzo, a 5-yard touchdown. Oilers lead 14-10. But back comes Johnny Elway. One of his favorite targets through the years. Oh, let me tell you about Mark Jackson. What a beautiful pass, 39 yards, but holding on the play. No matter, 2 plays later, Elway back to pass. One of his favorite targets for the years, Mark Jackson. Look at the pass. Touchdown, 42 yards. This sticks, 17-14 Denver.
Now you watch the safety here, Bubba McDowell. He bites up on the play when he's supposed to be given help on Mark Jackson. Chris Dishman says, where are you?
So did that fan. 1, 2, 3. How many fingers up? Then the fourth quarter, Denver lead 20-14. Warren Moon to Haywood Jeffries. Look at DS 49, Dennis Smith. But Jeffries holds on. After 2 incompletions, Moon to the newest Oiler, Webster Slaughter. Look at DS 49, but Slaughter holds on. Then Moon under pressure. Look at DS 49, Dennis Smith makes the interception. What a defensive series for him. Moon worried that might mean the ball game, but he and the Oilers didn't quit. 3 minutes to go. Moon to Curtis Duncan. He's wide open. It's a foot race to the end zone. Atwater with the saving tackle, but they're down to the 9. 2-minute warning. Next play. Moon. Touchdown, Haywood Jeffries. The Oilers trying to do what Elway did to them last year. They're ahead 21-20. John Elway. What me worry? Are you kidding? First play. Scramble. Zip. To Mark Jackson. He's wide open and gets out of bounds. Next play. Elway. Zip. To Vance Johnson. 21-yard gain. Gets out of bounds. Next play. Elway. No, we're going to run it. Reggie rolling on the Rivers. It's a touchdown. Denver wins 27-21. The Oilers got to midfield, but their last gasp drive failed. I mean, as Yogi said, it's deja vu all over again. The Broncos beat the Oilers 27-21. They lead the Chiefs by a game in the AFC West. They're 5-2. The Oilers now 4-2.
Then their 6-game winning streak over the Patriots, and of course remain the only undefeated team in the NFL. On the other side of the ball, the Pats wanted desperately to end their 6-game losing streak dating back to last season. At least score more than 3 points in the first half. Injured quarterback Hugh Millen, he would have to watch this one with Coach Matt. First quarter, 3-0 Pats in the lead on 3rd and 1. Tommy Hobson at quarterback. He goes deep to Irving Fryer. Not a bad catch. 59-yard touchdown reception. Pats led 10-0. Second quarter, Dan Marino passes a milestone. The completion to Bobby Humphries for 9 yards. And with that little completion, Marino passes Joe Montana for 3rd place in the all-time yards passing list. Then on the next play, Dan the Man hits Mark Clayton for the 44-yard touchdown strike. 10-7 Dolphins trailing. The Pats could feel it slipping away. John McCarthy's punt is blocked by Bruce Alexander, and that set up a 35-yard field goal, tying the score at 10-all. Late in the second, still tied at 10, Marino to Keith Jackson, the 6-yard touchdown strike. Dolphins led 17-10. Still that same score. Last play of the first half, Charlie Bauman's field goal is blocked. Then first play for the Dolphins in the second half, Marino takes Mark Duper deep, 43 yards. Just like that, 24-10, TJ.
Yeah, and the beauty of this play as you watch the end of it is Mark Duper making the adjustment right there, headed to the post, sees the ball, makes the adjustment, and makes the catch for the touchdown.
Still third quarter. Only trouble Super Dan has, leaving the Patriots bench. White men can't jump. How many times do we have to say that? He was not hurt. He was not hurt. He got up smiling. 2 plays later, Marino to Jackson again, 11-yard strike. Yeah, that's right, Keith. Miami is number 1. They win by a final of 38-17. The Dolphins' 7th straight victory over the Patriots. It was Marino's first game with 4 more touchdown passes since 1988, but the 17th of his career, tying Johnny Unitas' NFL record. And speaking of pretty good quarterbacks like that, why don't we continue our honor roll? 300-yard passers. And as Chris said, Steve Young, he's not just a runner. 406 yards in the Niners' big win. You know we're not finished. What's left? Prime time players.
Breaking tackle at the 50, to the 40, to the 35, to the 30. Anthony Morgan to the 10. He will score a Bears touchdown.